On June 13th, Tesla shareholder votes will be counted on several important matters. And of course, the company wants you to vote your shares. They haven't even told you necessarily which way you have to vote, but they've made suggestions about which way they would like you to vote. And we're going to discuss that. I'm joined today by my good friend, Randy Kirk, the craziest man in a library that I could find, best-selling author, serial entrepreneur, among other serial things. He's also
Post
a
Toasties,
serial,
Post
he's a,
Toasties was my favorite.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a serial aficionado. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So, Randy, I don't know if you heard, probably not, but there is a very exciting vote coming up. You probably didn't hear, did you?
Well, politics, and I just don't care anything about politics. What kind of a vote you talking about there?
Randy doesn't care about politics, he says. Tesla's come up with a program to incentivize you to vote. There are two big questions on it. There's a bunch of questions, but the two big ones are, should Elon get his back pay? And should they move incorporation from Delaware to the state of Texas? I had a chance to talk with Alexandra Mertz, who said that she believes a sufficient case has been made for back pay, but it's arguable whether a sufficient case has been made for moving the headquarters to Delaware, from Delaware to Texas, because while this one judge, it's hard to argue is anything other than crazy. Crazy people exist everywhere. And Texas does not have the same established history of corporate case law that Delaware does. I personally believe that they will win on appeal in Delaware, because if they don't, it would create absolute chaos, but I could be wrong. But in Texas, we just don't know what they'll do. Texas doesn't even let them sell cars directly. And I'm sure there are shareholders, especially institutional ones, who have greater confidence in Delaware than in Texas. But what we're talking about, Randy, is another program to encourage shareholders. If you vote your shares and share your confirmation number with them, they can't see how you vote. You could vote no. You're entered into a drawing to win a tour, a factory tour with Elon and Franz. How cool would that be?
That would be the incentive of all incentives. Yeah, that would be right up at the top.
It would. Now, when I go out on the road, I like to give out merch. It is when people say, "Hey, I love your channel," I say, your punishment for recognizing me in public is you get merch. So Jan from Tesla Fix and I made some stuff to give out. Vote now. Yes on Prop 3 and 4. Brought to you by Futuraza and Tesla Fix. We printed out like a ton of these and just gave them out in Austria, because how cool is that?
Yeah, that's very cool.
And this one was even more popular.
Okay.
Originally, he was holding, I don't remember, ice cream or something. And of course, it's got weird fingers. If it didn't have weird fingers, what would it be doing? And we changed it. We tried changing it. We changed it to a cell phone. And what it did was put a cell phone in his hand with another hand holding it, which was terrifying.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the shareholder vote, I get it. A lot of people are saying he's divided between his companies, and that's not good. How can he possibly focus on more than one company at a time? And I have an answer for that too. This one you may recognize as a little more Brian style: 3 Elon Musks.
3 Elon Musk.
And of course, you've got the weird hands. Why wouldn't you have weird hands? So that's.
Are you using the most up-to-date version of the illustration AI stuff right now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I prefer it this way. I want it to be creepy and terrifying because it's way funnier with all these jumbled. I mean, hands are like bananas. They just come in bunches, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
I think that's how it should be. And we snuck our logos onto the table there and handed out a lot of these, a lot. So it's a lot of fun. What are your expectations for the vote on the 13th?
All right. So I have a set of expectations, but I don't think it's the ones you're thinking of. So yes, I as best as anybody, I don't know anything that I can add to the question of how's it going to go. I mean, sure, every evidence that I've seen would suggest that Elon's package is going to be confirmed. The evidence with regard to moving to Texas is way lighter, as well as the requirement in terms of having 50% of the available outstanding shares voted in favor. That's a hard get. So I'm not confident that that's going to pass, and I don't have a strong feeling like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Now I have a, 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 a somewhat of a strong feeling that it would be horrible for Elon not to get his votes passed. But the problem is, as was pointed out this morning by, I forget her name, but anyway, there was an interview this morning with a gal who is an associate professor at Tulane, not even a full professor, an associate, arguing that the fact that this vote passes may have zero to do with what Elon gets paid in the future because the judge can throw it out, and she might.
And that's something Alexandra Mertz shared with me. We had a conversation in Austin, in Austria, where we were talking about these very matters. And what she was saying, and this is actually I think this came up in the panel we co-hosted, where she said there are a lot of steps between here and the end of this road.
Yes.
If the vote passes or doesn't, it's not the end of it. If the appeal is successful or unsuccessful, it's maybe not the end of it. And there's just a whole lot left. I'm just tired of the sour grapes, people saying, well, why am I paying him if he's focusing on SpaceX and Neuralink and Boring Company and Twitter X? And the answer is because he already did his job. We're not talking about the next compensation plan. We're talking about the last one. And I think it's deeply unfair that so many shareholders who did not enjoy the gains that you and I did prior to 2020, really, 2021 for sure, are now the ones who control his fate. And they're very bitter. They thought always up and to the right. The chart is just going to keep going forever. And that's not how charts always work.
Yeah, so I've made my position on this particular situation totally clear. I spent hours on videos talking about the legal aspects of it. I am a law school graduate, even though I never practiced a day, and wouldn't claim to have like special knowledge of this case law or the category around this case law. What I would say is the judge in this case, by opening up, by saying, why should the richest man in the world deserve to get this kind of compensation? I think it gets thrown out on appeal just because of her opening sentence. I think I know it's been 50 years since I was in law school, but I didn't see anything in the law that would suggest that you throw out a contract because this judge doesn't think it's fair to pay somebody a certain amount. I don't see where that's a legal argument at all. And that's her opening sentence.
And I think that's interesting because we can argue morality and ethics all day, but there is no statute that says if rich, then no. That is not a thing that exists. Guys, there's no, if you don't like the law, change the law, but that's the law. And I know you say you don't have any special information, but I would argue that most of your information is so special, it deserves its very own short bus. Let's share this. Win a tour with Elon and Franz. Tour the Cybertruck and Model Y manufacturing lines with Elon and other executives with a private group of stockholders on June 12th, the day before the annual meeting. You also have a reserved seat at the annual stockholders meeting on June 13th. So, I'm disappointed because obviously I have shares and I couldn't go to this even if I didn't enter because I'm going to already be in Michigan for our big event there. And yeah, the timing is unfortunate. We didn't think the shareholder meeting was going to be this time of year. It hasn't been in the past. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure that your major interest right now is getting down there on 8-8 anyway. I'm sure that's going to be something that you will probably tear down any barriers. What is it? Over, under, around, or through, whatever you have to do.
Yes.
That sounds like poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But of course, I will be on the road throughout the Western U.S. on my drive out to the Tesla Summer Meetup in Michigan. We did actually have a chance to add one last speaker. I don't see him on here yet, but Robin TV has one of the largest car channels in Germany. He's just launched his U.S. channel. And in order to make room for him on the panel, I gave up one of my spots
Uh-huh.
because I was going to be moderating the Europe panel, and I said I will give up my spot so there's an extra spot there because I'm about the mission. So we've got some truly fantastic guests. It's going to be amazing. And if you're in the Western US and would like a visit from Brian, let me know. Maybe I can make it happen. And I did want to say a quick shout out to Dr. Carl Bloss, who I did not mention in a previous video. I meant to, but I was very tired. And I think Dr. Know-It-All I must have missed as well, because I got that far down the page and I was just zoning out because I got so much done on the Europe trip. Thank you so much to Tesla Fix for use of his studio and for the ideas and the conversations. It made it all possible. So did you apply for a spot in that lottery?
I did not. Again, I will probably also be working very hard to go on the 8th. And
Yes.
I just spent a fair fortune traveling the East Coast of the United States. So this is not a good time for me to be going down to Austin, but I will be saving my pennies and doing what I know how to do in terms of massaging people that might, get a spot and have a plus one or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying as well. For the August 8th event, I will be there. Whether I get it into the actual event or not, I will be in Austin. I must. This is what I do. And it's, fun to see that a shareholder gets to join a group of other shareholders who didn't have to do the lottery. I assume those are the large institutional folks. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact that they don't have PR is disappointing, but the fact that their investor relations is such in absolute shambles since forever. I know people with $5 million, $10 million invested who can't even get an email back from them.
Right. Right.
And that is a garbage way to treat people with millions in your company. But
So I would also think to encourage people out there, don't let the fact that you think it's going to be a victory get in the way of voting. Don't think, you think it's already a fait accompli and therefore you don't need to do it. Don't let that happen. Also, don't think that because people are like, I just brought up this issue, which I think is a real issue, that this vote might be moot because the judge might just throw it out. Don't let that slow you down either, because even if the judge threw it out, the appeal might be impacted by this. So there's, as Alexandra said, there's many, many levels to this particular situation. The key thing that we need to have happen is we do need Elon's full attention, even if divided by 7, we still need his full attention to the extent that, I think that he probably has, as your meme pointed out, no, how many of one of us does it take to equal one Elon? Probably 3 dozen. So there you go.
3 Elon Musks, you guys. Somebody had asked me, hey, can you ship me one of those? No, I don't really have a mechanism for that, but if you like, get in touch with me and I'll just send you the picture. I'll just email it to you and you can print it yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
Make a poster, get a
Sure.
tattoo, whatever you like. Maybe don't do that. Maybe don't do the tattoo or do, but let the artist know that you're happy with the count of fingers, because if there's one thing that you need with all 3 of your Elon Musks is more fingers.
More fingers.
I do want to, of course, as always, thank my patrons, my YouTube subscribers, my X channel subscribers, my YouTube members, I guess I should say, without whom this channel could not exist. I thank you guys so much. You're the reason it exists. It's a tough go. And I, as you may have noticed, do not sell my soul to the highest bidder because I like being able to sleep at night, crying into my pillow about how desperately poor I am. I get by. It's just real tight. And the next year will be better. The trajectory is in the right direction. I want to thank Randy Kirk for hanging out with me. Head on over to the old Randy Kirk channel. Link in the description. Buy one of his many books on the Musk man himself. What did we miss? What do we misunderstand? like, subscribe, do the usual, smack thumbs. And everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.